Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Fit Fueled Female. So, this episode was actually my husband's idea. We were recently out on a walk, and when I say walk, I mean complete chaos. Picture this: 2 kids, 3 dogs, leashes tangled, kids running ahead on their scooters, one dog freaking out because she can't keep up with them, and noise everywhere. And right in the middle of it, I'm doing what I do best: firing off the task list. Don't forget to call the car person. We still need to register Lily for that thing. Oh, hey, on your way home tomorrow, can you grab this for me? It's like I've turned into a human Alexa set to nag mode. When did that happen? Now, I don't just dabble in lists. I legit live in them. Our schedule is on 4 calendars. My phone buzzes with reminders, both personal and work. We've got a corkboard in the mudroom before you can even get into the garage. Sticky notes floating all over the house. If it can hold a task list, I found a way to put one there. And yet, with all of that plastered around the house, my husband still finds a way to look right past it and ask me things like, does Liam have soccer today? What do we have going on for tonight? What time's the game on Saturday? And my personal favorite, what's for dinner? That actually cracks me up because even our weekly dinners are pre-planned with HelloFresh. The meals are literally sitting in the fridge, recipe card on the countertop, and he still asks me what's for dinner. Now let me pause here, because it's not that my husband can't handle tasks. At work, he's the master. His whiteboard is legendary. People actually envy how organized he is. But the second he steps out of that office and back into family life, it's like he flips the switch. Work brain off, task brain off, and suddenly he's asking me what's for dinner when the answer is literally in the fridge. That's just how he's wired. Like the other day, we were putting out our fall decorations and I knew that I was missing a bin. And I kept asking him, please go get me that bin. Please go get me that bin. They just don't work with the same sense of urgency as we do. About a day and a half later, he found me that bin. So there we are, mid-walk, me rattling off more to-dos, and my husband suddenly stops, dead serious. Which, if you know him, you know usually means he's about to drop some sarcastic one-liner. He looks at me and goes, Kristen, do you realize you've been treating me like a task lately? I laughed, because I kind of have been. He wasn't mad. He said it in that straight-faced, shock value delivery that makes you laugh before you even know if you should be offended. And then he adds, actually, I think you should do an episode on tasks because you're kind of the queen of them. And as funny as that was, he wasn't wrong. Because here's the thing. So many of us women are wired this way. Within minutes of waking up, our cortisol spikes and the task list just starts firing off in our heads. And it doesn't stop until we finally hit REM later that night. It's not intentional, it's survival mode. But it can turn us robotic, especially with the people we love most. With our spouses, it can become all logistics. With our kids, it's shoes, teeth, backpack, go make your bed. It's not connection, it feels like management. My husband once even told me he thinks my blood must be blue because I never stop moving. And at the time, I wore it like a badge of honor. But if I'm being honest, it's probably not something I should be proud of. And that's what really sparked this episode. Because when the people we love the most only get the transactional version of us instead of the connected one, something has to shift. Which leads me to lesson number 1. Catch yourself in robot mode. The first step is simply catching yourself in robot mode. Because when my brain is so full of tasks, I become the task. Or sometimes when it's multitask, I forget things. Or I get tunnel vision. I shut everything else off emotionally. My husband will come up to give me a hug and I'll literally be like, not now, I have so much to do. It's not that I don't want that hug, it's that in that moment, connection feels like an interruption to the never-ending to-do list. And it shows up with my kids too. Just last weekend, we had my son's birthday party. You can only imagine how on overdrive my task brain was. After the craziness and all the running around, it was suddenly Sunday afternoon and I still had laundry to finish, groceries to grab, dinner to make, and a whole week to prep for. In the middle of all of that, my son pulled out his light bright. Yes, for all my 80s babies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He could tell I was in full-on task mode though, which kind of breaks my heart. So he just started trying to figure it out on his own. And he's a pretty smart kid for 7 years old, but he wasn't quite getting it. So I walked over to help him set it up, and then I caught myself. I thought, Kristen, sit down, do a picture with him. So I did. And let me tell you, the light bright quickly started feeling like a task of its own. Y'all, those things are intense. It took us 30 minutes to finish one Pokemon picture. But here's the difference. It wasn't about the end product. It was about being there with him and being fully present. And later that night, he came up, wrapped his little arms around me, and said, "Mommy, you're the best." That, in itself, made it all worth it. And here's the deeper truth. As women, we often feel like if we're not doing something, then we're failing. Like we're only valuable if the house is pristine, the meals are on time, the schedule is flawless. But for who? No one really cares, and frankly, most of my so-called urgent tasks are probably meaningless anyway. That's why catching yourself in robot mode matters, because it's not about eliminating the list, the laundry, and dinner. They were still waiting for me. It's about noticing when the list has taken over and saying, wait, I have a choice here. So lesson number 1 is this. You can catch yourself in robot mode. And when you do, you can pause, even just for a moment, and choose connection instead. Because at the end of the day, the laundry won't remember you, but your kids do. Which leads me to lesson number 2. Turn tasks into togetherness. Once you catch yourself in robot mode, the next step is to shift how you approach that task itself. Because here's the reality. The tasks aren't going away. The laundry still needs folding. Dinner still needs to be made, and homework has to get done. Life is mundane. It just is. And if we don't find the joy in the mundane, we'll go insane. Because otherwise, it just becomes one endless loop of checklists and errands with no spark in between. The other day, I asked myself, when's the last time I smiled or laughed with my kids? Like, what if instead of letting these things be walls between us, we make them bridges? What if tasks became opportunities for connection instead of barriers to it? Right now, we're basically a dog kennel. We've got our 2 dogs plus my in-laws dog, who she's used to getting evening walks. At first, I looked at it like just another thing to add to the list, one more obligation in a day that already felt so full. But instead of treating it like a burden, we've been turning it into a family stroll. We all go together, we get outside in the evening air, and honestly, it's become this sweet little reset from our normal routine. It's time we're actually enjoying as a family instead of rushing past each other in the house. And the best part, even our dogs are like, wow, we never get this treatment. They're absolutely loving it. And sometimes it's not just the chores. Even our luxuries can start to feel like tasks. For me, it's my nails. I get them done so often that I used to almost dread the appointment. Like one more thing on the list. But I've started to level set myself to remind myself that this is a privilege, that I get to do this. And now I try to enjoy the quiet time. Or sometimes I let my 4-year-old tag along, who insists on, of course, getting the full VIP treatment, toes and all. And honestly, it's become one of my favorite memories with her. That's the thing. The task didn't change. The dog still needed a walk. The nails still needed a refresh. But when I reframed it, it went from a chore to a moment of connection or even gratitude. So lesson number 2 is this. Turn tasks into togetherness. The groceries, the carpool, the dishes, the dog walks, even the nail appointments. They'll always be there. But they don't have to drain you. They can actually become the very places where joy sneaks in and connection grows. Which leads me to my power move for the week. This week, I want you to pick one moment where you normally go into full-on task mode and flip the script. It doesn't have to be big. It could be that moment when your spouse comes in for a hug and your brain is screaming, "Not now, I've got so much to do." Catch yourself, pause, and lean into that hug. I bet it'll make you feel great. Or maybe it's while you're unloading the dishwasher or folding laundry. Invite your kids in, turn on music, and make it a moment of togetherness instead of just another box to check. And here's the thing. Sometimes it's not even the chores. Like I said, sometimes it's our luxuries that morph into tasks. The nails, the hair, the gym, the very things that should be filling us up somehow become one more item on the list. So this week, when you're doing one of those things, I want you to pause and reframe it. Shift from, I have to do this, to, I get to do this. Because here's the truth. The tasks, they're not going away. Life will always be full of them. But we get to choose how we experience them. We get to decide whether they drain us or whether they become the places where joy sneaks in and connection grows. So your power move this week is this. Pause the task or reframe it and choose connection or gratitude, even just once. Because that one choice, it's the difference between living life as a never-ending to-do list and living life as a collection of moments that truly matter. Which leads me to my what's been fueling me section. Honestly, this week, blowouts. I've been going to Blow in Frisco, and honestly, it's become one of my favorite little rituals. There's just something about walking in frazzled and walking out with fresh, bouncy hair that feels like an instant reset. And let's be real for a second. After a week of several workouts, my hair is usually pretty nasty. I may be great at tasks, but washing my hair consistently, yeah, that's the one task I seem to fail at the most. So, Blow has been saving me. For me, it's not just about the hair, it's about the pause. It's the 1 hour where I'm not juggling laundry, answering emails, or telling my kids for the fifth time to put their shoes on. It's a space where I can sit, breathe, and let someone else take care of me for a change. And here's the kicker. I used to think of even stuff like this as just another task, another appointment on the calendar, but now I see it as fuel, a small luxury that actually gives me my energy back. I leave feeling polished, put together, and honestly, more like myself again. And my hair looks great. So yeah, fresh blowouts from Blow Frisco. That's what's been fueling me lately. And if you're like me and your hair takes the brunt of your busy, sweaty, task-filled life, trust me, you'll appreciate it. So that's it, y'all, for today's episode. The tasks will never go away, but how we show up in the middle of them is what really matters. The laundry machine won't remember us, but our people will. So until next time, stay fit, stay fueled, and go take care of yourself. I can't wait to see you next week.